Here we go. A huge King's birthday clash against the Demons. Let's get into it. So before we get into this big preview, the teams still haven't been announced, which is just annoying. I know it's a day before the game, Sunday, but even just release the emergency, the extended squad on the Thursday with everyone else, and then just annoying, just a little pet peeve. But the proper thing that I wanted to talk about was I picked up myself a big freeze beanie. 20. I like the pin that it comes with. $25. I got mine from Bunnings. You can get yours from Coles. You probably can get yours on the day as well. So you can probably get yours at the MCG. But it's so warm. Donate it to a really really good cause. I haven't had anyone in my life or in my circle personally affected by MND, but just hearing the stories and Neale and seeing all the stories in comments and DMs and stuff like that, it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And whatever we can do to slay the beast, defeat the beast, however you sort of want to say it, we'll do. You remember last year I raised some money and went down into the big huge dunk ice bucket thing for Pink Lemonade, so that was fun. That was cold. That was absolutely cold, but that was a lot of fun. But yeah, grab a beanie, let's just defeat this beast together. Now, the big game right before the bye. I am so bloody excited because King's birthday is always huge, right? Doesn't matter where teams are on the ladder, kind of like a Carlton game, like an Essendon game, like an Anzac Day. Doesn't matter where the teams are on the ladder, you know it's going to be a big game. And I think that we've won 10 of the last 12 big freeze games or King's Queen's birthday games. So that's absolutely insane to say the least, right? And I know, a little bit earlier we talked about, a couple of months ago, we talked about, Adelaide. We've beaten them for, the last 11 times or whatever it was. And we're like, oh, maybe they're sort of due one. I think as the season goes on and as I get older, I stop believing in jinxes and maybe they're due one because, we've won the last 3, then they've won the last 2. And then I think it's just, I just don't believe in jinxes anymore. So it doesn't matter if we've won the last 10 or 12 or whatever it is, we are going to absolutely come out firing against the Demons. So looking at the Dees quickly. So last week, they got done in by St Kilda. They kicked 1 goal for a half of football in the second half, and then we're just misfiring that whole that whole 2 quarters of football. St Kilda got on top, and they sort of they came out and smashed them. That was the game where Melbourne fans or Melbourne themselves would have wanted to really knuckle down and show that their really slow start to the season has changed. Because before that game, I think they've won the last 5 of their 6 games. So they were in a very good vein of form. And that's coming off the back of Stephen May returning, Pickett having just incredible games, Petrarca back to some of his best. Oliver is like this tagging machine now. So individual pieces were starting to come together and they were playing good football after that just insipid first few weeks when they lost, I think it was 0-4 or something. And we've seen teams bounce back from that, like Brisbane and Hawthorn, a couple, I think that was last year actually. So we've seen teams bounce back from that. But then they put up that performance in Alice Springs and you go, okay, was that just them, just got running off energy and then this is the real Melbourne? What does it sort of look like going forward? And when I watched that game, I just couldn't see, can't see a world where they magically improve all of a sudden against a team. I say a team like us, but a team that's going so well and sitting on top of the ladder and by all means should just absolutely smash the Demons. So what St Kilda were able to do and how they sort of beat Melbourne, from what I could see anyway, was their uncontested game. So their kick and mark game, they were plus 40 in marks and they were, they smashed them in uncontested possessions by nearly 80 or so. And I know that's not really our game, so I think it's going to be, less of that kick and mark game like St Kilda did, but opportunities to see that. Like if you watch my training video, the way we were transitioning the ball from one wing with a lot of people around it out to the other side, and getting it quickly into the forward line. You're going to see a lot more of that. And like I said in the previous video, we're able to chameleon this team any way we can against other teams' tactics, right? So if Melbourne don't like a kick and mark game because they need to get their hands on the ball and they just can't do it, and that's what's how St Kilda sort of beat them, maybe we see a little bit of that come into our game, because the way that we're playing at the moment this year we've just been able to snake our way through different teams, not playing exactly the same. Look, there's still, the pressure and the high tackling and losing clearances by getting the ball inside 50, and our intercept game is really, really strong. There's still all of that. There's still elements in that in every single game. But what I'm seeing is that there's little bits that other teams do that we can nullify that don't necessarily happen week to week. So this Melbourne game is going to be very different to the way we played against maybe not very different, but it'll be different to the way we played against Hawthorn. So that's what I mean by, the chameleon. So maybe we won't see as many uncontested possessions and marks like St Kilda did, but we're going to have elements of that, in my opinion, as to the way we beat Melbourne. Now, if you look at us, if you look at the Pies, we're flying, right? 10-2. What we did against Hawthorn was probably one of the best home and away wins that I've seen Collingwood have for a very, very long time. Definitely probably the best and most convincing home and away win of the season, just in general. I know there's been some really good games from other teams and stuff like that, and maybe this is a bit of, Collingwood biased, but I think that this was probably one of the best home and away games, definitely this season, because Hawthorn were on the ropes, yes, but they were a bogey side. They came out sort of fiery. You can kind of see their fire in their belly right at the start. And then we were able to just nullify it. And I guess I'm using that word a lot in this video now. We were able to just nullify them and stop them in their tracks and stop their run. And, Hawthorn do like to use the corridor and they do like getting over the top. And, they were doing that a little bit in the first half. And then in the second half, we tightened the screws and they weren't able to do that. So that's why I'm saying Melbourne like to overpossess the ball and have the ball and link up and stuff like that. So if we can stop them from doing that, that's going to go a long way into winning. And that's that chameleon team tactic football that I was talking about a little bit earlier. What I like about the Pies, especially leading into this game, yes, it's going to be a big game, but we never get overawed by the emotions of the game or, what it sort of means. And I know Fly will more than likely talk to them about, like before the game and stuff like the M&D and, his brother-in-law that's battling it, and that will give a little bit of fire in the belly. But we're always up for any sort of challenge, that we don't need that sort of extra motivation, if you know what I mean. Like we're just going to hit this game like we're last on the ladder trying to beat the ladder leaders. And that's what I love so much about this team, is that you can see them giving them their all. And again, I'll say this every single video if I have to. That GWS game at the start was an anomaly. That's not the Collingwood. That was a pathetic Collingwood, right? And I'll say that again. That we will never see again, especially, well, definitely under Fly. So we will never see that again. Now, a couple of the matchups that I'm really looking forward to. Of course, you're going to have Gawn up against Cameron. I don't think Mason Cox will play. If you saw my training video from Friday's main session, you'll see that Cox went off about halfway through and he didn't return. So he went into the club rooms, didn't return. So I do think it'll be Cameron and McStay rucking against Gawn, which, McStay I think comes in. Because I don't want Billy Frampton in the ruck. Yes, he did what he needed to do, but cost us 2 goal line goals because Frampton wasn't down there, sort of being that sort of goalkeeper type, that big body type. So we can't do that. We need to change things around. So it'll be McStay. Would love to see Oscar Steen if we can, but I think the battle of Cameron and Gawn, probably 1 and 2 best ruckmen in the game, or 1 and 3, however you sort of want to look at it. Definitely both in the top 5, obviously, or both in the top 3, you would think. But it's not even just how they battle, right? It's around the ground, because we know that Cameron gets quick down back, and if we've got the ball, he gets quick up forward if we definitely need him. So can Gawn sort of keep up with him? He's an older body. We've seen the best and the worst of Gawn this season, but more so it's our clearance work. So we've lost clearances pretty much every single week for the last 3 or so weeks, I think, except for the Kangaroos game. Fremantle, Geelong, we won the Kangaroos game. Hawthorn, I think we lost the clearances. So it's showing that we don't need to win the clearances to win games of football, but with someone like Gorn and with the midfielders that they do have in their team, Melbourne, it's going to be interesting to see how we go head to head with that sort of clearance work and how we line up against a Petrarca, against an Oliver, against the Pickett who goes into the forward line, who is another guy that I'm really excited to see who we sort of match up against him. It'll have to be Quaynor, you would think. I don't even know who matched up against him last time. Was it a Maynard? I can't really remember. Back in, when was that? Round 24. Was he even playing? I really don't remember, but you can watch that video the day of. It'll be the last time we met. That'll come out on Monday morning. So Kazai Pickett, Windhager kept him to just, I think, a dozen touches or something, and I don't even think any goals last week. So he can be stopped, but if he gets off the leash a little bit, he is that sort of game changer where if he's kicking 2 or 3, you're going, hang on a second, I think Melbourne can be on. So you want to stop their little fire starter before he goes on and has a big game. In regards to or who they match up against us, I think Stephen May has come into a little bit more form. Probably not last week too much, but he's come into a little bit more form since he's been back into the team. Does he go to a Membry, Mycheck, McStay? There's going to be, the best thing about our forward line is that there's so many different elements to it, and if you cut one head off, 2 will pop up, right? We're a chameleon team, we're a Hydra team, we're a lot of creatures, right? I don't even know where I'm getting all these, but we're a creature team, right? We're an absolute creature team, so it's going to be interesting to see who he tries to shut down, but with McStay back in the team, I think McStay back in the team, Hayes will be back in the team, so that'll be for Lipinski and Schultz. I think Ed Allen will stay on that wing predominantly. He's played a little bit of half-back last week, and you would have seen him working up and down, all those videos sort of going around. And I think it was on Fox Footy, and the Pies put out a video as well. Hayes deserves it. We talked about him a couple of videos ago. I think it might have been in a training video or a couple of videos ago anyway, about how, he's probably playing until Lockie Schultz gets back and then keeping Lockie Schultz out of the team. That's what you want to see from your young kids, your passing of the baton. I'll keep saying that all year until it becomes obsolete. But I would love McStay back just to see, again, the Triple M's working. We haven't had McStay for, 8 weeks or something, which is just insane. Insane to think that we've been putting up a big score, and that's on the back of Jamie Elliott kicking, a bag of 5 goals again. Bobby Hill hasn't even been kicking like that many, but he's been popping up for goal assists and helping out, and he doesn't even have to kick a bag of goals. So that's going to be really interesting. Our forward line is so dynamic that I really don't think Melbourne will be able to keep up to it. So my big calls and predictions, I honestly think we should win by 40 plus points against the Demons. We should absolutely come out and smash them. And my big call, is it a big call if I say Jamie Elliott's going to kick another 5 goals? I feel like he's going to get off the leash. But my big call, if he does play Will Hayes, is that he'll kick a goal on debut. But that's been my preview for this big King's birthday clash. Let me know your thoughts down below. And until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. Until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.